welcome to another episode of Other Items of Interest. I am Jack Zablocki. This week, what do we have? It's just a mixed bag of stuff. Some happy stories, some wacky stories, some angering stories, just stories. Maybe you'll enjoy it, maybe you won't. I'm going to do the show anyway. Here we go. Hey everybody, how's everybody doing? Another show, another warning about construction noise. If you listened the past 2 weeks, you would have heard a preamble before the show talking about cable company doing construction on the street. Street crew doing a lot of noisy work outside. Good news, they've moved on to a different street, but every once in a while a truck drives by or something beeping drives by. So we'll just have to put up with it if it comes through. Otherwise, I think we're in the clear. Hope everybody's enjoying the show. Check out otheritemsofinterest.com. You can check out the show notes, which has all the articles covered on the show. You can see the pictures and videos and everything else. It's quite a blast. I highly recommend it. So much for that. On with the show. Well, here we go. You have one of those dogs, or cats, I guess, that just eats anything in sight? From UPI.com, veterinarians remove 19 pacifiers from bulldog's stomach. 19 pacifiers. Boston Animal Hospital said veterinarians used x-rays to discover the cause of a bulldog's nausea and vomiting. 19 pacifiers in his stomach. 19 pacifiers. The MSPCA's Angel, not like, with wings angel, but ANGELL, Animal Medical Center said Emily Shanahan, the owner of Mortimer, a 3-year-old bulldog, brought the canine into the facility in the spring to investigate the cause of his nausea and vomiting. Mortimer was initially diagnosed with an acid reflux-related vomiting syndrome, but Shanahan brought him back to the hospital when his symptoms worsened. Veterinarians at Angel performed an x-ray on Mortimer's stomach and discovered the dog had ingested 19 pacifiers. 19 pacifiers. I was shocked because even though I have 2 small children at home, I'd never imagined he was eating their pacifiers, Shanahan said. Dr. Erica DePape performed an endoscopy on Mortimer to remove these pacifiers. At least they didn't have to cut the dog open. They went in through the mouth. That's my little bit of knowledge of veterinary science, which is very, very limited. It's likely that Mortimer started nabbing these pacifiers in April, perhaps one at a time, and that started a cycle of nausea and vomiting, which are symptoms that can be caused by so many other health issues. Dr. Doug Brum, Mortimer's primary veterinarian at Angel. I don't know how to say that word at all. I'm going to keep going with what I got. If not for the urgency with which his family pursued veterinary care, things would have gotten much, much worse for him. Shanahan said Mortimer is fully recovered from his ordeal and is back to his normal self. We absolutely love this dog and would do anything for him, and I'm relieved that this was a problem that could be solved, as opposed to a chronic illness that would cause him long-term suffering, she said. Indeed. And here we go with another kind of happy story. They don't last, folks. The happy stories don't last on this episode. They never do. From WTSP, Channel 10 News. 88-year-old on a walk finds hockey puck he lost as a boy. A walk in the woods has taken a Duluth man back 7 decades. Not what I expected, Ray Ulvey says. I was shell-shocked right there. The 88-year-old maker of diamond willow canes was searching woods near his home. And by the way, this article is written a little strangely. I don't know if it's a transcript or what. He was searching a woods near his home for the perfect branch when he found instead a piece of his past. I seen that round thing in the mud there, and I thought it was a snuff can, Ray says. I picked it up, and it was a puck with my initials on it. An RU had been jackknife carved with the left hand cut on both sides of the puck by a young left-handed teenager. That's how I made my U all those years in school even, Ray say. See, that's how the article is written, Ray say. But I had to read it that way. I was flabbergasted, Ray continued. How could something like that be sitting right there, and I walked up on it and just about stepped on it after 70 some odd years? It's unbelievable. Ray couldn't wait to get home to show his puck to his wife, Sonia. I couldn't share it with any of his buddies because they're all dead, Sonia says. I must have went to 10 houses so excited about this puck, carrying it with me in a napkin so I wouldn't do any damage. The thing has been in the woods for 70 years. I don't think a napkin's going to help. It's indestructible, apparently. The name of the puck's manufacturer can still be read. It's made by the Winwell Corporation. They're located in California, Ray says. Still in business, I got an email that said, our products last a lifetime, and there's their proof, they said. Ray isn't sure how his puck ended up in the woods. The neighborhood rink was a block away, and his slap shot wasn't that good. He does know it was special to him. My dad wouldn't pay a quarter for a puck back in them days. You had one that followed you, and it lasted all winter, Ray says. Special then, even more now. That's a nice, sweet article. Old man finding a hockey puck. It's not the most special story, but it's something. And here we have double alien stories of sorts. Quite different from each other. From the AP, historical marker commemorates reported alien abduction. A historical marker has been placed near the river where two men in southern Mississippi said they were abducted by aliens in 1973. News outlets report the city of Pascagoula dedicated the marker Saturday at Lighthouse Park. Charles Hickson and Calvin Parker said they were on the shores of the Pascagoula River when what appeared to be aliens pulled them on board a UFO, examined them for about 30 minutes, and then returned them to Earth. Fair enough. Both reported the event to the sheriff's department and were checked out at a hospital after it happened, October 11, 1973. The story has become known worldwide. Parker published a book about the experience in 2018. Hickson died in 2011. Both said many people doubted their story. A few witnesses have come forward to corroborate some details. That's the end. So I guess if you're there, check it out. I don't know what else to say. And now for the second alien story, also from the AP. Authorities say man built a bomb to warn about alien threat. Of course he did. Authorities say a man who allegedly placed a homemade bomb in a parking lot behind a Pennsylvania hotel told them he did it to warn police about aliens bent on destroying the planet. State troopers responded to the Bonney House in Myerstown on Sunday. They discovered a suspicious package and 29-year-old David Oxenrider. A state police bomb squad disabled the package. No one was injured. Authorities say Oxenrider told police he had an encounter with aliens in 2014. He says they told him that if humans didn't start being good people, they would destroy the planet with a nuclear laser beam. Oxenrider is charged with manufacturing a weapon of mass destruction, causing or risking a catastrophe, and reckless endangerment. A nuclear laser beam. Is there even such a thing? Is that possible? I don't think so. Email me. I'd like to know. Other items of interest pod@gmail. I'm sure I can Google it myself, but I'm going to forget all about it once I'm done recording this shit. This show. You like dumb criminals? We got dumb criminals. From citypages.com. Winona bar robbery goes south when patrons realize gun is actually air freshener. It was July of last year, shortly after midnight. The bartender at Steiny's Bar in Winona had just finished cashing out the pull tab money for the night. She stepped outside with a few others for a smoke. That's when two men wearing all black walked up. Their faces were covered in bandanas and ski masks. One of them had his hand hidden inside a paper bag. He raised it toward the bartender. She couldn't tell what he was holding, but she got the sinking impression that it was a gun. The man told her to stand up. They were going back inside. The other masked man wasted no time grabbing 2 pull-tab boxes behind the counter. All signs pointed to a clean, quick armed robbery. But according to a warrant filed in Winona County District Court last week, it was about to take a turn. One of the men dropped a pull-tab box. Maybe that made the patrons a little bolder, because one of the witnesses chose that moment to get in the masked man's face and confront him, causing him to drop the other box. That's when another patron joined in the fray and tried to grab the man's mask and reveal his face. The robber's partner, the one holding the bag, clapped the would-be unmasker in the head. He probably wasn't expecting a third onlooker to go for the bag, which went sailing out of his grasp. The bag fluttered to the ground, and a single piece of black plastic came clattering out of it. It was not, as the bartender had originally thought, a gun. It was a fragment from an air freshener. This evened the odds quite a bit. A scuffle ensued, but the 2 robbers eventually fled the bar, empty-handed and unidentified. Not, however, without dropping a pair of sunglasses and a cloth bag, and allowing some of their assailants to size them up. Based on their builds and the feel of their hair beneath their hoods, the bartender and the witnesses thought the robbers might have been 25-year-old Jaquan Bebe Hughes and 21-year-old Antonio Little Tony Shorter. Both men had been at the bar until about 15 minutes before the robbery, and both of them were sporting dreadlocks. A DNA comparison between the sunglasses and a sample from Shorter proved to be a match. Fingerprints found on the air freshener piece looked like a hit for Hughes. This was all nearly a year ago now, but Winona police just issued a warrant for Hughes' arrest. His warrant on charges of first-degree attempted robbery and aggravated attempted robbery. Shorter got his warrant on Wednesday. The whereabouts of these 2 men are currently unknown, according to the Winona Daily News, but there are probably some pretty good stories going around at Steiny's. And here we have a contestant for Parent of the Year. This is so unbelievably irresponsible and stupid, and I don't care for these kind of stories, but blows my mind. From NBCnews.com, mother playing chicken with her kids fatally strikes son with SUV, officials say. A Houston woman who was driving a sport utility vehicle toward her children in an apparent game of chicken struck and killed her 3-year-old son, authorities said. Lexus Stagg, 26, was arrested and charged with criminally negligent homicide in the boy's June 11th death. Cars aren't toys, and playing chicken with your kids isn't a game, Harris County District Attorney Kim Ogg said in a statement. I mean, there's some things that you don't have to say. You shouldn't have to say that cars aren't toys and playing chicken with your kids isn't a game. Somebody should have told this woman earlier, because this is unbelievable. Stagg can be seen on surveillance video reversing a white Lincoln Navigator in an apartment complex parking lot as her 3 small children run toward the vehicle, prosecutors said. When the kids are just feet from the SUV, it moves forward, trapping the 3-year-old under the right front tire. Authorities said Stagg continued to drive forward and ran the boy over again with the right rear tire of the SUV, which weighs approximately 5,600 pounds. He was taken to the hospital by ambulance, but later died. Stagg initially told police she thought she hit a speed bump when she was going in reverse. Tisk, tisk, tisk. I mean, what else is there to say? I can't fathom this. Very preventable accident. Just ridiculous. I told you not all the stories were going to be happy today. You got a couple in the beginning. Let your guard down. Now there's this. I apologize, but it has to be covered. But wait, there's more. Woman 68 runs over and kills examiner during driving test. From thedailyrecord.co.uk. How about that? A driving examiner was run over and killed by a 68-year-old woman taking her test, police have confirmed. The 35-year-old was struck down and killed by the candidate at a test center during part of the exam that focuses on maneuvers. The incident happened in the southern Polish city of Rybnik on Monday. It's not yet known how the woman came to run over the man. Yeah, I'm not really sure. I mean, she's not that old, but some of you old people shouldn't be driving. A city's deputy police commissioner, Rizard Sepsor, told news channel TVP Info a 68-year-old woman, in circumstances which are unknown at the present time, hit the examiner, who unfortunately, as a result of his injuries, died at the scene. She must have really clocked him with that car. I mean, you're in a testing center. You can't have that much room to speed up, right? What the hell happened? When we spoke to the woman, she was in a state of shock, and because of that, speaking to her would be quite difficult. At the time of the accident, the examiner was likely testing another candidate, the police said. Footage from TVP Info showed the red Toyota Yaris, and those are weird little cars, involved in the accident with its front bumper and number plate hanging off as it was loaded onto a truck. And that's all the information they give, and that's all the information I got. From telegraph.co.uk, Russian Orthodox Church reconsiders blessing missiles. I don't know about other Orthodox churches, but I know the Russian Orthodox, they'll bless anything and everything. The Russian Orthodox Church is reconsidering the popular practice of priests blessing weapons, including nuclear missiles. A document drafted by a commission on church law last week recommended that clergy perform benedictions for soldiers rather than military equipment. The commission's opinion is that in terms of church tradition, we can talk about blessing a warrior to perform military service in defense of the fatherland. Sava Tutanov, the bishop of Zelenograd and deputy head of affairs for the Russian church, wrote on Telegram Messenger service. His personal weapons are blessed namely because they are connected with the one receiving the blessing. For this reason, weapons of mass destruction and personal weapons in general should not be sanctified. Mr. Tutanov admitted that this conclusion contravenes current practice and had to be rewritten after heated debate within the commission. The document must still be discussed by top church officials before it becomes doctrine. This is so wacky. A bunch of grown men arguing whether or not they should bless weapons of mass destruction. In recent years, Russian Orthodox priests have often been seen chanting prayers and casting holy water on arms like S-400 surface-to-air missiles in Crimea and intercontinental and short-range ballistic missiles taking part in the Victory Day parade on Red Square. They have also blessed assault rifles, fighter jets, and nuclear submarines. How much holy water does it take to bless a nuclear submarine? I don't know. But Father Mikhail Vasilyev, that's a hard one, a priest who has accompanied paratroopers to war zones in Syria and Chechnya, argued that clergy blessed anti-aircraft missiles so there would be peaceful skies over our heads, and this was part of a bigger effort to help soldiers fight sin. We don't need to classify weapons by their lethality, he told the Telegraph. We should stop blessing them entirely, which I think is incorrect, or we should stress spiritual education so that these weapons and the blessing of them are given to people who are facilitating the peace and security of the country rather than aggression. The issue has arguably become more pressing as the church attaches increasing numbers of priests to military units. A school for chaplains is being built at the Defense Ministry's Patrick Park outside Moscow. And there's a picture of a base or where they're stationed. They have this little trailer that they work out of with Mother Mary there, I can see, and Jesus. There's a line of soldiers getting blessed. I don't know if it's telling or not, but all the soldiers in the picture have their arms crossed. I don't know if it's just cold. It doesn't look cold, but it kind of tells me they're not into this. That's just my guess. What do I know? Church doctrine holds that war is evil, but can be necessary to protect loved ones and restore justice. Priests were known to have blessed swords before the victory over the Golden Hoarder at Kulikovo. Kalikovo? Man, Russian is so hard. And tanks during Second World War. Mr. Tutanov said the church had to make sense of the new realities of modern weaponry, however. In the 1990s, priests were even rumored to have blessed gangsters' pistols. More recently, Russian priests have blessed automobiles, gas pipelines, and rocket bound for space. Like I said, they'll bless anything and everything. After a Proton M rocket carrying Russian navigation satellites broke up during launch from Baikonur Cosmodrome in 2013, local priest Sergei Baikov claimed that the ones that crashed were the ones we didn't bless. Those ones that came down hurtling from the sky, we forgot to bless those. I imagine that's what it sounded like. From channel3000.com. I believe it's a Madison, Wisconsin thing. Complaint. Man shoots family cat to show woman what he's capable of. There's a mugshot there, and you can go judge for yourself. I'm not saying psychopath. I'm just saying the look in his eyes is not somebody you make friends with. Okay? A Madison man told a woman he shot the family cat to show her what he's capable of, according to a criminal complaint. They never mentioned the woman's name, so it's going to sound a little weird sometimes. The woman reported Peter K. Stern to police after she said he told her in graphic detail how he shot Tinkerbell while the cat was eating its food. She said he originally disposed of the cat's body in his work dumpster, but later buried it in the backyard of his home on Camilla Road upon her request. When police asked the woman why she thought he killed the cat, she said it was because he knew it would be traumatic for her. She also said he killed the cat as a threat to her to show her what he is capable of. When police spoke to Stern, he admitted to shooting the cat and said he put her down. He said the cat often ran through his legs while he was on the stairs, which would cause him to trip. Stern also said his girlfriend was allergic to the cat. Those seem like fine reasons to me to shoot a cat. Asshole. Stern told police he used a .22 Ruger revolver to shoot the cat. He also said the cat was in good health before he shot it. I guess he gave it a checkup. Oh yeah, I took good care of her, really good care of her, Stern told police. What is it? Why the same thing over and over again? I took good care of the cat. It's really annoying. I mean, the fact that he killed the cat was annoying, but I mean, worse than annoying. A fly is annoying. This is just absurd. Court records show Stern stood mute in Dane County Court on Thursday, and a not guilty plea was entered on his behalf for charges of mistreatment of an animal and disorderly conduct. He signed a $500 signature bond and is scheduled to be back in court in July. What an asshole. That's all I can say. You ever see that movie, The Birds? You ever see that movie, Birdemic? That's a real piece of shit. Go check that out if you have a chance. But this article is along those lines. From thetelegraph.co.uk, seagulls keep couple hostage in their own home for 6 days by attacking them every time they leave the house. Not fun. Nesting seagulls kept a couple hostage in their own home for 6 days by attacking them every time they tried to leave their house. I hate when the first paragraph reiterates the headline. It wasn't exact this time, but sometimes I've read that first paragraph, which is a repeat. I feel like an idiot. Anyway, Roy and Brenda Pickard, 71, say they were constantly confronted by 2 squawking adult seagulls after 2 chicks ended up on their roof. Mr. Pickard, 77, was once so viciously attacked that he ended up with a bloody head wound that needed hospital treatment. Speaking about how difficult it has been to complete simple tasks while stranded inside, Mr. Pickard from Knott End near Morecambe Bay, Lancaster? I don't know which one this is. It's abbreviated. Anyway, the whole thing has been terrible. Kind of like this podcast. I've not been able to go out of this front door. If I try to get out of the front door, the two adult birds are right there and I've got no chance. It's genuinely frightening. He added, my wife isn't very well or very mobile at the moment, so we're relying on me to get out. Thankfully, we have an integrated garage, and I can get into it from the kitchen, open the garage door, and drive out to get our shopping, but I have to leave the garage door open, which isn't ideal. The Ware Council say the gulls are herring gulls and are protected once nesting, which meant the couple had limited solutions available. The Ware Council spokesman said, we sympathize with Mr. Pickard's situation. Seagulls can be troublesome, particularly when nesting. We have visited Mr. Pickard to assess the situation and have given advice on how he can deal with the gulls. For now, a solution is in place which will enable Mr. Pickard to take his wife to her private appointment. The gulls in question are herring gulls, and they are protected once nesting, and so there are limited solutions available. Didn't I just say that? What's going on here? We advise residents who have a problem with seagulls to bird-proof their properties prior to the breeding season. And there's no other information like when the breeding season may be or how they should bird-proof their properties. Yikes. That's all I can say. Tornado of poop. Melrose homes ruined after raw sewage spews from toilets. From WHDH.com. Several Melrose, Massachusetts residents were forced to leave their home when an underground blockage caused raw sewage to spew uncontrollably out of toilets in 4 homes on Thursday. And by the way, you want to check the show notes at otheritemsofinterest.com. There is video of a spewing toilet, if that interests you at all. City workers responding to a call about a possible sewage blockage on Brazil Street around 9:30 a.m. learned the main sewer line was blocked, resulting in a backup of the entire system, Melrose Mayor Gail Inferna said in a statement. The bathrooms in 4 neighborhood homes were left covered in a river of filth and feces when the sewage suddenly poured out without warning. Sylvia Ortiz, who captured video of her toilet overflowing, says the mess has left a rancid stench in her home. I was getting ready for work and then I heard a bubble, she said. It was a crazy scene. It literally just spun and flowed out. Photos of the aftermath showed the entire bathroom coated in sewage. A tornado of poop started forming and started spewing out, Ortiz added. The newly married Ortiz, who has lived on Brazil Street for 4 years, also found her wedding dress soaked in the sewage. She says it will likely take weeks to clean and repair her home. I don't know if you can repair a home after this kind of sewage spill. It destroyed everything. All of the floors, all of the walls need to come out, she said. The whole bathroom has to be gutted. I guess if you gut everything, you can repair it or redo it. The blockage has since been repaired. In a statement, Inferna said, our top priority right now is the safety and well-being of the residents of Brazil Street. I've directed my staff to assist residents with emergency accommodations, and we will continue to monitor the situation closely. The city is still working to determine what caused the blockage. Poop. Poop caused the blockage. We all know that. From BBC.com, BBC Sport, Sri Chinmoy, Self-Transcendence, 3,100-mile race around a New York block. It is a race so long that runners need a haircut during it. They can get through 20 pairs of shoes. They run more than 2 marathons a day for almost 2 months on 5 hours of sleep a night. Welcome to the Sri Chinmoy Self-Transcendence 3,100-mile race, the world's longest certified foot race. The distance is so staggeringly preposterous that some of those who take part don't think they are capable of it, even after they have completed it. It is roughly the equivalent of running from Land's End, England, to John O'Groats, Scotland, and back twice. If you ran from the west coast of America to the east, you would still need to do 11 marathons to top up the distance. At least the scenery on those routes might take your mind off things. The precious few who compete in this race, only those with proven ultra-running CVs, resumes, are allowed for their own safety. Do so around the same single block in New York. They head out on the sidewalk down 84th Avenue, past a playground, along the busy Grand Central Parkway, around Thomas Edison High School, down 168th Street, and back to 84th. And they will do this 5,649 times. You might be asking, why? That's what the article is asking. Why? You know what I'm asking? Why? The clue is in the name. Founded by the late Indian spiritual leader Sri Chinmoy in 1997, the Self-Transcendence challenges runners to transcend their own previous capacity, gain spiritual insights, and overcome the entire world's preconceived notions of possibility. It's very uplifting. I'm not going to do the race. It's very uplifting. Those tough enough to have finished it will tell you the race ticks all those boxes and more. First, the rules. Runners have 52 days in which to complete the distance. They can run or walk or hobble as much as they want between 6 a.m. and midnight. During the 6 hours when the course is closed, they need to eat, wash, and tend to their battered feet. The longer they take, the less they sleep. And to save you the maths, freaking British, 3,100 miles in 52 days equates to 59.6 miles a day. When a Finnish postman named, this is a hard one, Ashprahano Aalto, we'll call him Aalto. He was an unassuming Finnish postman, set a new record of 40 days, 9 hours, 6 minutes in 2015. He averaged almost 77 miles a day. It has been described as the Everest of ultra running. That does not come close to doing it justice. More than 4,000 have reached the summit of Everest since 1953. Only 43 people have ever completed the self-transcendence in 22 years. It was the most overwhelming moment of my running life, says Scotland's William Seichel, an ultra-running legend and holder of 693 world records who completed the race in 2014. American Yolanda Holder, who has finished 540 marathons and ultramarathons, became the first person to walk the self-transcendence in 2017. It just tore me apart, she says. I've never cried at any of my races, but when I crossed that finish line, boy, I cried. Herein lies the thrill, the attraction of putting your body and mind through an experience that most people can barely comprehend, let alone would consider tackling. You get to run your heart's content, says Aalto, who has completed the race 14 times, won it 8 times, and is currently taking part in the 23rd edition, which started on Sunday. When you run a marathon, you feel good. When you run a 100-kilometer race, you feel even better. When you run 3,100 miles, you feel even better still. Women's record holder Kanika Janokova, born in Slovakia, I am sorry for butchering your name, but now living near the course, describes it as sacred ground. I was hoping I wouldn't get the inspiration to run it, she says, chuckling, but then she made her debut in 2016, set a record of 48 days, 14 hours, 24 minutes in 2017, and was back for more in 2018. She is skipping this year's race. I'm already missing it, she says. Embracing the physical hardship is key to coping, according to Associate Race Director, I cannot read these names at all, Sahishnu Schneezel? That's way wrong. I apologize. Anyway, an ultramarathoner veteran himself. If you think it's going to be torture, you probably don't belong here. The race is held in Jamaica, Queens, a vibrant multicultural area now, but one which was not always the safest, says Cecil. I think that's right, Cecil. You were surrounded by all these ghettos. There was lawlessness, drug dealers, and homeless people. American Suprabha Beckyard, who completed in the first edition of the race and ran 13 in a row until 2009, remembers, in the beginning, nobody would want to leave their car on the street. There would only be a few pieces left in the morning. Runners must contend with the unpredictable weather of New York summer. Temperatures have been known to reach 38 Celsius. I don't know how to put that in Fahrenheit because I'm stupid. Humidity can be stifling and torrential downpours are not uncommon. It is one of the few races where you will see elite athletes competing while carrying an umbrella. There are no closed roads either. Competitors share the pavement with people going about their everyday lives, so dodging pedestrians and kids on bikes becomes an essential skill. I'd never done a race like that. I was absolutely staggered, said Saichel. Sri Chinmoy definitely had a sense of humor. Although serious injuries are rare, the toll the race takes on the body can be brutal. Holder, who holds the record for the most marathons and ultramarathons by a woman in a year, 120, and completed a marathon on 340 consecutive days in 2015, suffered from blisters so painful in 2018 that she had to go to the emergency department at the hospital. I named them Misty Blue, she says. I was crying every day. After I pulled out of the race, I put pictures on social media and people complained because they were so disgusting. A year later, my left foot is still not 100%. Saichel, who always wears shoes one size too big, is a fanatic about looking after his feet, but has his own issues. The chafing can be absolute agony. The sheer monotony of running around the block thousands of times, the only nod to variety is the fact that the course changes direction each day, takes a mental toll, one that many runners claim is greater than the physical demands. This is where meditation comes in. Sri Chinmoy, who moved to the U.S. in the 1960s and became a spiritual leader in New York, took up long-distance running and then weightlifting. By using prayer and meditation to increase his outer strength, he lifted elephants, planes, and cars, as well as people. 8,000 of them between 1988 and 2007, including Nelson Mandela and Desmond Tutu. It is just your mind torturing you. With meditation, it becomes possible, said Beckyard. Alto agrees. You go into a special place, he says. Holder, one of the few runners who is not a Sri Chinmoy disciple, says she transcended 48 days into her first 3,100 miler. I saw myself right in front of me, she recalls. It was very, very scary. The next night, I saw myself again and I said, "You go, girl." I really tapped into my inner self and spirituality. Saichel adds, I look like a zombie. I'm in my own world. My helper said to me once, "You've not spoken for 3 hours." Everyone copes in their own way. Never think of the whole distance, warns Beckyard, who imagines she is a child running through a garden. There's this beautiful big tree. It's on the busiest corner of the course, but it maintains a peaceful place. You get joy from the simple things. Janikova repeats mantras or thinks about what she will eat next. Holder may chat to her family on the phone or stream parts of the race on social media, where she is known as the Walking Diva. Austrian Sarasa Mehrer, a 3-time finisher and former female record holder, sings, chants, or listens to music. Runners must eat constantly, whether that be the vegetarian meals provided by the race volunteers, who convert a double garage into a makeshift kitchen for the duration of the race, or easily digestible snacks provided by their support crew. Eggs, bread, pancakes, French toast, and smoothies are common staples, while Saichel estimates he gets through 3 liters of ice cream every day. That's a lot of ice cream. It just slips down really well, especially vanilla, he says. Janikova sums up the challenge of running and eating. You don't want to eat, then you can't wait to eat. You have to eat something on every lap, so there is no rest for your stomach. Holder discovered she had a craving for McDonald's, and Alto remembers running along while eating a packet of crisps, French fries, and a passerby shouting, You've got to be kidding me. He thought I was just out for a jog, he says. Despite the constant grazing, managing to consume 10,000 calories daily is not easy. That is not easy. That's a lot of calories. The already slender Holder lost more than a stone in weight in the 2017 race, after which she says she couldn't look at myself in the mirror. Sleeping is another challenge altogether. Holder struggled to sleep at all for the first 2 weeks, but then she finally mastered the 15-minute power nap. She said it felt like 5 hours. Your body adapts. It becomes like a machine. I would dream that I was going around and around in circles, said Beckyard. Seichel, who says part of his success is in ultramarathons is his ability to survive on little sleep, says matter-of-factly. You just get used to the feeling of being tired. Experience is crucial in ultra running, and a quick glance down the list at some of the runners who have completed the race shows that age is definitely no barrier. In fact, it may be an advantage. Alto was 44 when he broke the record. Janikova was 48 when she last completed the race. Beckyard was 53 in her final self-transcendence. Mehrer was a sprightly 56 when she broke Beckyard's female record in 2016. She is also a former world record holder for the 5-kilometer, 10-kilometer, half marathon, and marathon while running backwards. They have that? That doesn't seem safe. Holder is the oldest female finisher, age 59, and Seichel was 60 when he became the oldest man to finish in 2014. The chances are you have never heard of any of them, although Alto says he once met the Finnish president. She hugged me, he says. Ultra running is among the most niche of sports, and running 3,100 miles is at the very end of that spectrum. Media coverage in the self-transcendence is limited, to say the least. Hey, we're covering it. Huh? We have 6 listeners. Although a beautifully shot documentary called The 3,100 Run and Become is soon to be released in the UK. That should be interesting. To say the self-transcendence is low-key is an understatement. The leaderboard amounts to numbers hung on a chainmail fence at the start line. Race headquarters is not much more than a collapsible table and a laptop. Runners grab power naps in caravans parked on the road. They might get a t-shirt for finishing, maybe a DVD, and a small trophy in a good year. A small crowd of volunteers cheering finishers over the line is the norm. Alto being taken around the course on a specially decorated float when he broke the record in 2015 was positively lavish. This suits the runners just fine. The rewards are intrinsic, said Seichel. I do it for my own progress, agrees Janikova, who is among those who says she can only take a small amount of credit. I felt it wasn't really me who achieved it. I felt there is a higher force. Mehrer echoes that, saying, because I am not so strong and at home I can't run for a long time, it seems that when I am at the starting line, I am another person. Even Beckyard, a woman whose 13 race finishes mean she has almost run around the world twice, says, if you look at me, you wouldn't suspect I could do something like that. It had very little to do with me. I just showed up with my shoes. And there's a bunch of pictures of the runners getting foot massages and taking little breaks when they can. Some of them are running. It's very interesting. There's the card table. There's some signs up on a chain link fence. I guess that's the Walking Diva. A lot of good pictures with this one. Check it out through the show notes. Read that long article yourself to get more, see what words I messed up. And cue the music. And that's that for the week. A little bit of a mixed bag. No rhyme or reason for any of the stories. Is it okay? Not okay? Let me know. This has been Other Items of Interest. I've been Jack Zablocki. Check us out online at otheritemsofinterest.com. We'll see you next week, folks. We'll miss you. Goodbye.